Okay, great.
Did you say like 4, like yesterday?
Once you get everybody back, maybe we can get you guys on the campus somewhere outside. Nice one.
I love it. Yes, let's go.
Two great picks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be attached to this stuff and kind of review this stuff and make sure.
Yes. How are you doing?
You're welcome. Make sure I go underneath you when I'm there. Oh, okay. Well, I see what you mean, yes. We've already selected this location where we might be able to get to. Milwaukee. Well, hello. Chicago. We've been there. Well, so we know where that is. So, yeah, maybe we can
invited everybody. They needed a whole
Good post player. Getting it together. It's the third day. 2 days after the event is when you get there he is. We cut it back to 4 days a week. So you want either technical or charge. I talked to Karen. I told him I was trying 18 years. so loud here. Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody coming in. It's a great day to be a Bulldog, as it always is. We're excited to welcome a new Bulldog and his family to our family today. My job is just to get us started and then get out of the way. But today you'll hear from President James Danko, Athletic Director Barry Collier, and our new women's basketball coach, Austin Parkinson. We're being streamed live on YouTube, so just know that there's a camera on you at all times. Appreciate that. And then for our media members in attendance, once we get through the program today, we'll have the availability for you to talk with Coach in this area once we get through the program. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to the president of Butler University, James Danko.
Well, thank you, John, and welcome everyone. Another, as John just said, great day to be a Bulldog, and excited to have you all out here on this very special day. Saw many of you, of course, last week when we welcomed Thad Mata back to Butler University, and we're excited to continue the march forward with adding great leadership at the university. Coming off the heels of a lot of great things happening here at the university. Just as a reminder, because we want to see this many people here in about a week or two, on April 23rd, you're invited back to Hinkle Fieldhouse that evening, where we're going to celebrate the successful conclusion to the Butler Beyond campaign, which has been instrumental really into with so many things that are happening here at Butler, including renovations to Hinkle and the new business school and the sciences. So a lot of great things are happening here, and again, some of you heard me last week, I want to underscore our commitment to athletic success, and especially our competitive position within the Big East. And today is another affirmation of what we're doing here in terms of competing and succeeding in the Big East. Our women's basketball women's basketball program is extraordinarily important to Butler and to the Big East. Probably many of you are mindful of the fact that Connecticut and the women's program is within the Big East now, and we really are very determined to be successful in one of the best women's basketball conference in the nation. Over the past few weeks, we set out to find a leader of our program, and we are really very proud that we've identified a dynamic leader who's going to take us to great heights in our women's program. We are very confident in you, Austin, and glad to introduce you here today, and we welcome your family to the Butler community as well. I want to thank Barry Collier for all his work. He's been very busy. Have you been sleeping at all, Barry? You know, and he texts me at all hours of the day too. So, but this is another positive step and a great testimonial to the way Barry has led our program. And without further ado, I'm going to turn the podium over to Barry. Barry?
Thank you, Jim, and thank you for your continued leadership at Butler and your friendship and your commitment to a successful program. I'd also like to recognize the Board of Trustees that play a very, very important role at Butler University and are behind this program as well. One other note of thanks, and that's to my staff that works hard to do all the work, and I tend to get the credit for much of that work, but they've worked very hard. Mike Freeman and Molly Sullivan were very involved in this process. So when you go through a coaching change and a coaching search, it's typical to do a significant review of the program. And really you do that every year, but especially when you're in a search, because your candidates are going to be asking about what you have and what is realistic and what's the opportunity and what are the resources. And we went through this significantly, took plenty of time to do this. And what we came back to is that we have, at Butler University, we have what we need to be successful from a resource standpoint. What we need is great leadership. And we have that at the top of the university, and now we have that at the top of the women's basketball program. We're looking forward to that. We expect to compete on an elite level because the Big East is an elite conference. And we're excited to move forward today. And when we needed to identify a new leader of the program, we wanted one who had a vision for what could be. We also, as it turned out, we found one who has a playbook on turning a program around and being successful here in Indianapolis. So we were thrilled that Austin expressed interest in this job. He can tell you more about that, I suppose. But not only do we have a great leader, but we've got somebody that's got the blueprint for building this program. So Austin comes to us. He's the right leader at the right time. He's got proven success. 8 out of his 12 years have been 20-game winners. They've set all kinds of records at IUPUI. We had a very strong pool of candidates for this job, but his vision for what could be and the success that he's had and the recruiting connections and effort that he'll put into it will make all the difference in the world. So with that, we are just thrilled that he's here today to introduce him. So on behalf of all Bulldogs, Austin, Whitney, Pierce, and Wren, we welcome you to Butler University. So ladies and gentlemen, our new leader of the women's basketball program, Austin Parkinson.
Well, first of all, let me just say what a massive day this is for me and my family to join the Butler women's basketball program and be selected as the leader. We're fired up, and I look forward to sharing a little bit about that vision today and what that looks like. First of all, I want to thank President Danko, Coach Collier, Mike Freeman, and the rest of the staff as they went through the process to identify me as the coach. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity. I look forward to lead this program. I want to introduce my wife, Whitney Parkinson, here in the front row. Incredible wife and mother, but for the young ladies in this program, and they'll find out very quickly, an awesome team mom. We do a lot of functions at our house, and she does a lot of things behind the scenes with them, and so that's going to be really neat. My little girl, Ren Violet Parkinson, my basketball girl, she's already made some shots in Hinkle Fieldhouse. All right, so that's good. My 8-month-old fella there, Pierce, if you saw on social media, him and Butler Blue had a slobber off in the gym the other day, so that was quite interesting. My mom and dad have been incredibly supportive, not just as a player, but as a coach. They travel everywhere. My grandma, I see her today. She's going to be a season ticket holder, I have no doubt. And my mother-in-law, Gina, is here as well. Got to see some friends and family that are here to support, and that means a lot. I want to thank IUPUI. 12 years ago, Mike Moore, in the midst of a chaotic situation, took a chance on a 29-year-old coach to take over their program 4 days before the first practice. And so I'll always be grateful that he gave me that opportunity. I want to thank Chancellor Bance, Chancellor Padar, Interim Chancellor Andy Klein, who's my really good friend, Dr. Perry, and my good friend Cammie Broker, who over the years at IUPUI has been incredibly supportive. But most importantly, I want to thank my players. At IUPUI, when I took over, they had 3 wins, and we overcame a lot to create a consistent program that was winning 20 games a year and going to the NCAA tournament 2 of the last 3. That doesn't happen without people who are determined, that are high character, and believed in our vision. And so I'll always be grateful to them because there's no way I'm standing here today without them. Something that's really cool, I don't know where she's at, but my first ever signee at IUPUI who signed up to play for me when I was the interim coach is here today. Nevena Markovic's in the back of the room, 6'4" kid out of Chicago via Serbia. She is the longest running professional player that I had. Last night in the WNBA draft, my current center was drafted in the 3rd round, Macy Williams. So to have the bookends of that was a pretty special deal. Also, I want to say thanks to the former Butler players. I'm overwhelmed by the number of people who've reached out to me and have given me encouraging words over the last few days, and I know are excited about what direction we're going. Why Butler? Why this job? Why this opportunity? And why this time? Well, let me take you back to a conversation 6 years ago that my wife and I had on our couch. My wife is an interior architect, owns her own company, and she had just done something really neat in her business and kind of checked off a box that was important to her, a dream of hers. And so she said to me, she says, well, Austin, what's your dream job? And I know for her, she had an idea that she thought it was going to be 2 or 3 things. And immediately, without hesitation, I said, Butler. Butler's the dream job for me. And here's why. Immediately, I've always felt like the values at Butler University, the Butler way, their core values line up with me as a person and what we believe in as a family. The second part is the Big East, right? One of the best conferences in the country, especially for basketball. And then you add to the fact it's maybe the best conference in America for coaches when it comes to women's basketball. Then you think about Hinkle Fieldhouse, all right? Obviously, everybody here knows the magic of Hinkle Fieldhouse. I think back to my childhood, all right? Sitting 3 rows from the top in a semi-state game with Bonzi Wells and Muncie Central, playing Damon Frierson and Ben Davis. And I can still, to this day, smell the popcorn of sitting in that and watching that atmosphere. And then, we know that how neat, Hinkle Fieldhouse is. I came home the other night after my first day and got to tour the facilities. I walked in the house and I said, this is incredible. I said, this is basketball heaven. I said, this is something I couldn't even beyond my wildest dreams of what we can do here at Butler University. Then you talk about the academics. I had a chance to sit down with all the individuals in the women's basketball program, and every single player talked about the academics here at Butler University. To me, that's a tribute to not just the education, but the professors and their individual relationships with those young ladies, so that's something I'm encouraged about. The beauty of this campus, being in a downtown, Indianapolis, but the beauty of this campus tucked away and where we're at, you may not know this, but my wife and I lived about 1.5 miles from here. And we used to sneak down to the Butler tennis courts and play from time to time. That ended after some heated battles between the 2 of us, but we got to enjoy the campus. And the last part is this, is just the location of Indianapolis. I tell kids all the time, right, we're 4.5 miles from downtown, best sports city in America. Pacers, Fever, Colts, Indians, Speedway, PGA tournament events. This year we're going to have 4 WNBA games right here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. What an awesome deal for women's basketball. I tell recruits all the time, if you're bored here, that's a you problem, right? Like all the activities, you can go canoeing in Noblesville, paddleboarding in Eagle Creek, concerts at the White River, concerts at Ruoff. So for an athlete or a student here, everything's at their disposal. But from an academic standpoint, think of job shadowing, volunteer internships, right? You're just a stone's throw away for any of that stuff. So the opportunity here for this program to be an elite program in women's college basketball, that's why I said to my wife, that was a dream job, and we really believe it can be that someday. Now, how do we get there? What does that look like? We know, right, success, you don't get to skip steps. There's going to be a process. We're going to have to work hard. We're going to have to set a tone with the kind of person that we want to bring in and the kind of culture we want to create. Well, what does that look like? Well, for basketball fans, it's really simple. Indiana. Okay, when you think of any Indiana team, Butler University and anybody else included in this state, when they have sustained success or they go to postseason play, it's with a core of Indiana players. The last time women's basketball here, Kristen Spoiler, Whitney Jennings, Michelle Weaver, Tori Schickel, right? All those players, right, were the last time they went to postseason play. So what's that going to look like here? Right, I've played basketball in this state, right? I played in Lafayette, Purdue University. I worked on the south side at UIndy, built relationships there. Went to Fort Wayne, built relationships when I worked at PFW. Okay, played with 3 guys from East Chicago and Gary, Indiana. My roommate was from Chesterton. Love the region. And then I know you don't know a Purdue guy that's got any relationships in Bloomington, but I played with Bloomington Red and have great relationships with the people down there. So the bottom line is this. What I have found is in Indiana, the coaches are some of the best in the country, the talent some of the best in the country, but we know more than anything else, the passion for basketball is as good as anywhere else. And so we've got to get that core group of players to believe in Butler women's basketball, and we got to be the first choice when they're looking at schools. The other part is here we're in the Midwest, right? Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky, Wisconsin. All right, we've had a number of great players come to my spot at IUPUI. We expect them to come here. And then the fortunate part of having the Butler brand on a national scale, that's something that we look forward to taking advantage of. What does that look like? How are we going to bring those players in? There's 3 things. Talented players with good character that love basketball. The talented players part, what fits our program? Okay? We want tough players, disciplined players, high IQ, and unselfish. You know, some of these guys get up at the press conference and they get up here and say, we're going to play really fast, right? And that sounds cute and great, something like this. But the reality is that's not true. What we're going to do is we love to play fast, but we're going to be efficient. We're going to be smart. Okay? We were 14th in the country in field goal percentage last year, 20th in three-point percentage. All 3 of my last post players have all been 1,000-point scorers. We're going to play inside out. Defensively, I can promise you we're going to be tough. Pressure man-to-man, arm's length away. You'll see us on the floor diving for loose balls and taking charges. But we need those kind of players that are going to come here and do that. As far as character goes, how are you going to represent yourself? How are you going to represent your family? How are you going to represent your high school? And how are you going to represent Butler University? If I'm going to ride on a bus with you for 2 hours, or if I'm going to be in an airport with you, I got to like you. I got to be able to have conversation with you. I got a young lady right here I'm going to be bringing to practice several times a week that I want to be able to look up to those young ladies and emulate what they do. That means we have to have good people here. And the last part is this. We have to have people that love basketball. Every recruiting visit that I have, I finish it with this. I say to them, when you're not with your parents, when you're by yourself and you're in your room, my question to you is, do you love basketball? If you eat, sleep, and drink basketball and you want to reach your potential, you're going to love playing for me. If for you it's like, it'd be cool and it'd be neat and, we'll have some good times, and don't come here. Don't come to Butler. You and I won't like it. We won't get along. My thought process is this. If you get kids with high character that care about their academics and love the game of basketball, you got a chance to have something special, and that's what we intend to do. The last thing I want to say is this. I want to thank all the staff members here at Butler. You have been overwhelmingly helpful. To see how intentional you are with trying to help us as coaches be successful in just a 5-day period has blown me away. The other thing is I've been a lot of campuses on Indiana. I've never been to a spot in such a short amount of time that I can tell the campus is so connected. On Saturday, my second day, I walked to the bookstore to just get some Butler gear. Walked in, the woman that runs the bookstore, Janine, walked right up to me and said, you're the new women's basketball coach. I just wanted to introduce myself. My wife flew out Sunday to go to a trip in Atlanta, business trip. Some lady came up to her, hey, you're the new Butler women's coach's wife. But what I can tell right here is we have something unique and special that every university doesn't have. And I know for a fact that we can get this thing going. So I look forward to the day-to-day process of what that looks like, of how we're going to get the right people in here. We're going to play hard. We're going to treat people right. We're going to do things the right way. And I can promise you we're going to have things going in the right direction very soon. Thank you again, and thank you for everybody that showed up, and go Dogs.
All right, this is going to work out just fine. We are good to go. With that, we're going to move this podium out of the way here in just a moment. We'll do some media interviews with Coach up here. But with that, we'll sign off from the stream and just thank everybody for being here today. Congrats again. Welcome.